Yo, good if you don't know me on 5 guys. The NBA is the NBA is failing Luka Doncic, guys. They keep giving these MVPs to Shea who don't deserve it. They keep giving MVPs to Jokic. Jokic does deserve it. He's a tough player. But, come on. Luka is the greatest point guard since Stephen Curry, guys. Not even since Magic Johnson. Let's be honest here. Greatest Laker of all time after LeBron James.
I have a challenge for you.
And Kobe.
Yes, you. I'm going to give you the stats of 3 of the greatest individual seasons of all time, and you have to tell me which of these 3 didn't win the MVP. Would you pick season A of 32 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and about 2 stocks a game
32?
on nearly
That didn't win
50%
it.
shooting?
That didn't win it. That's
B,
Luka.
a hair under 34 points a game on 9
It gets
rebounds,
better.
9 assists, 2 stocks, and 48% shooting? Or would you pick season C? 35.2 points, 8.8 rebounds, 9.2 assists,
Nah, I'm
2
thinking
steals,
player
and
A.
47% shooting.
Didn't
What do
win
you
it.
think got snubbed of an MVP out of these 3?
There's no way player C got snubbed.
Well, actually, this is a trick question because they're all Luka Doncic seasons. 2023,
What the fuck?
2024, and
He's
his
averaging
current
35
2026
points right now?
season, to be exact. And guess who hasn't won an MVP despite these otherworldly numbers?
That is insane.
What's happening to Luka Doncic right now seems kind of unfair. Almost like he's on some blacklist in the NBA. Currently, the MVP ladder sits at Nikola Jokic, ranked number 1, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at number 2, Luka Doncic at number 3.
Of course, I
Giannis
gotta be up
Antetokounmpo
there.
at number 4,
Top 5.
and Cade Cunningham at number 5, with several other big names gunning for Luka's spot near the top. And this isn't shade to any of the players above and around Luka right now. Nikola Jokic, SGA, and Giannis
how can a
are all
player
putting together some historic numbers
win
that are well-deserving
MVP
of
over,
MVP. Except Giannis, Jokic, and
Think about it. Win MVP over like Shea, who has the number 1 team in the league, or Jokic, who's like, bro, send me a triple double every time he goes. You said what?
SGA all haven't had the problem of winning an MVP or 2. Giannis Antetokounmpo won 2 back-to-back MVPs in 2019 and 2020 on even slightly worse numbers than what he's putting up right now. Nikola Jokic has been stacking his MVP collection, already at 3, with a 4th one projected to come his way. SGA, despite underperforming Luka in pretty much every statistical category, still won an MVP. Even Joel Embiid managed to snag an MVP.
Okay, but Joel
in the
Embiid, he be crying about it.
2020s decade. But Luka, it seems like Doncic could put up 40, 12, and 12, and people still wouldn't consider him an MVP favorite. So why does it seem like Luka Doncic's greatness is practically invisible to everyone? Well, the NBA is a Luka Doncic
That makes
problem,
no sense.
and it's time we talk about it.
I feel the NBA doesn't understand how Luka could be so good.
MVP inflation. Definitely not a term I just made up. The progressive increase in expectations required for a player to be considered an MVP favorite. In 2005, Steve Nash of the Phoenix Suns won the MVP, leading the Suns to the best record in the NBA at 62-20.
Bro was averaging
Nash in
15
05
points
had a
per
stat line
game.
of 15.5 points per game, 11.5 assists,
Wow.
and 3.3 rebounds.
15 points
along
per
with
game
1
gets you an
steal a
MVP back
game.
then.
A pretty solid stat line, but these numbers don't jump out to you as MVP worthy. Right after this, Dirk Nowitzki won his MVP, leading Dallas to an incredible 67-15 record.
Didn't they win that
with
year?
a stat line of 24, 9, and 3 on 50, 40, 90 shooting splits. Eventually, LeBron James goes on to win 4 of the next 5 MVPs from 2009 to 2013, with stat lines around 28.7 rebounds.
4 of the
and
5
7 assists,
MVPs.
with some pretty solid defensive numbers. But then KD came out of nowhere and broke our perception of scoring, putting up 32 points a night to win the 2014 MVP.
Slim
A
fucking
scoring
Reaper.
mark so high that the last time we saw an MVP
I don't know, you guys think it could beat
put up
KD
scoring
in a
numbers
1v1?
like this was Michael Jordan back in 1988, where MJ put up 35 a night. Eventually in 2016, Steph Curry once again redefined offense for all of us, winning his second MVP while putting up a stat line of 35 and 6, while leading the league in steals and shooting 45% from 3
Crazy.
on 11 attempts a game. Absolutely unthinkable just 10 years ago. And if we thought stat lines couldn't get any wilder than they already were, Russell Westbrook came along and shocked the whole world, averaging a 30-point triple-double over the span of an entire season. Numbers simply just too good to be ignored. Despite OKC finishing as the 6th seed,
now Nikola Jokic putting up those
from
numbers
here,
for
the
fun.
absurd
Like,
MVP.
that's a bad night for
Jokic
Jokic now.
James Harden put up 36 a night in 2019 after winning.
Is that the highest
MVP
scoring?
prior year? A scoring figure so large, only Michael Jordan has topped it in the modern era. Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2019 and 2020 averaged close to 30 points a night, while grabbing 12 to 13 rebounds, dishing out 5 to 6 assists, and playing some of the best defense in the league. From here, the stat lines were only getting more stupid, like Nikola Jokic averaging close to a 30-point triple-double in 3 MVP campaigns, while shooting the ball more than 15%.
Yo, Dad, what happened?
Than Russell Westbrook, and not putting himself into cardiac arrest trying to do it. Joel Embiid in 2023 and SGA in 2025 both made Kevin Durant's 2014 scoring numbers look like a joke. Ladies and gentlemen, MVP inflation is a real thing.
But there's just so many good players now, bro.
Has been set
Everyone's
to an
good.
Unbelievable standard that would have been looked at as a joke just 20 or even 10 years ago. Steve Nash in 05 only needed 15, 3, and 11 to win the award. Since 2005, we've seen 31 individual
Bro,
seasons
15, 3, and 11 doesn't even get you a
Steve
contract in
Nash,
the
where
NBA
players
nowadays.
averaged north of 15 points a game,
Like, bro,
and at least double-figure assists.
they will
Taking
get
this
you
even a
packed
step
up
further,
real quick.
I could probably name you at least 10 point guards this season that are producing more than 05 Steve Nash, including Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham, Steph Curry,
Well, like, bro, they
James Harden,
doubling his shit,
LaMelo
bro.
Ball, Josh Giddey, and Jamal Murray. But this doesn't just apply to point guards. Kevin Garnett won the MVP in 2004 with an insane stat line of 24 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, and about 4 stocks a game on 50% shooting. An all-time historic season. Except we have Giannis now, who from 2019 to 2026 averages 6 more points and 1 more assist on significantly better shooting, while only paling in rebounds and defense. Dirk Nowitzki in 2007 was seen as a once-in-a-generational unicorn, a 7-foot European star who could drain deep shots like a 2-guard, was extremely
Yeah, everybody's that, bro.
agile and
DeAndre Jordan is that
and
player
was
now.
overall
Even DeAndre Jordan is
offensive
shooting threes.
maestro. Except we have Nikola Jokic now, who averages more points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, while having a night and day efficiency difference. KD in 2014 was seen as the scoring ultimate boss. He had the 3-ball, the mid-range, the paint, the tight handle of the bag. He had everything. Except Joel Embiid and SGA both have MVP campaigns where they've scored more and on better efficiency.
Yeah.
And it's not just the MVP favorites that have gotten better, but the whole surrounding competition has
Bro,
been
it's like-
steeper than ever.
Think
To
about
really
it.
find
It's
out
like
how
so many good
competitive the
players,
MVP
bro.
race has gotten
Damn,
in the
bro.
past.
LeBron
I
not
saw
gonna
the
win no more
combined
MVP. It's kinda
points,
sad.
rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks
Get a chance in
from
2019
every
though.
MVP candidate.
And
that
2018
finished within
should have
the
won it.
Top 5 of voting in that given year.
I mean,
And
LeBron
the
should have won that
results
shit
were
for
pretty
30 years
shocking.
straight.
The numbers from the mid-70s to the mid-2010s were relatively the same, with a few peaks during the late 80s and early 90s, with some stacked MVP candidates like MJ, Magic, Bird, Hakeem, Robinson, Barkley, and Karl Malone all in their primes. There's also another peak around the mid-2000s, with players like LeBron, Kobe, Dirk, Shaq, Iverson, Nash, CP3, and Kevin Garnett all in their primes. But these peaks are nothing to what the 2020s have given us. A completely new and unseen wave of MVP competition. Well, to prove this myth
My bad.
wrong,
I just
went
sounded
and
so
found
warm.
out some of the per
Montclair,
100
dream
possession
on.
numbers from 3 separate eras to prove that players from today are simply just better.
Like, who the hell are these
1986,
randoms, bro?
2006, and the 2026 MVP race. The 1986 MVP race had players like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Dominique Wilkins, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They had an average per 100 production of 31, 10, 7, 2, and 2 on 51% shooting. 2006,
Wow.
an MVP race known for being stacked, had names like Steve Nash, LeBron James, Dirk Nowitzki, Kobe Bryant, and Chauncey Billups.
Wait, is
They
that
had average per
combined?
100
Oh,
possession
average.
numbers of 35, 8, 9, 1, and 1
Bro,
on 47.
2020 is gonna be averaging like
And
107.
finally, Get ready for it. 2026 with Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Cade Cunningham
Yeah, at
had
least.
numbers of 43, 12, 12, 2 and 1
Wow.
on 54% shooting. Yeah, the bar to win an MVP, or to let alone have your name inside the discussion, has been raised tremendously. I really think it's no secret.
It's just
that
too
the
easy to
NBA
score
has
the
gotten
ball
better
now,
on
I feel
average
like.
throughout history. It's just basketball evolution doing its thing after all. League-wide free throw percentage has went up nearly 15%
That's a big
since
thing.
the NBA's creation in the 40s, and has gone up about 4% since the NBA-ABA merger in the 70s. Two-point field goal percentage has climbed through the roof over the league's 80-year history, especially in the last 10 years or so. Since 1980, when the three-point line was implemented, players have shot about 8% better since. True shooting percentage has only been going up in recent years, with teams taking smarter shots. Turnover rate has gone down about 3 to 4% since the NBA-ABA merger. While these figures are undeniably true, many people would just use the slightly higher pace of play in today's game as an excuse as to why scoring.
But I'm gonna lie, bro. If you ever see this video, bro, you gotta low-key pick up the pace, bro. Like, I feel like I'm low-key about to fall asleep. I don't know if it's just me, bro, but I feel like, bro, it's definitely just like he's dragging his words.
And stats are up, but that's not entirely true. The pace of play in the 2025-26 season is a hair over 100 possessions a game, a bit more than the last 20 to 30 years of basketball, but way less than the early 80s, 70s, and 60s. The pace of play in today's game is actually pretty average compared to NBA history, but what isn't average, though, is the amount of points that are being scored today compared to our pace of play. NBA players are putting up scoring totals like it's the 60s, while playing at a significantly slower pace than them. NBA players in today's game are more skilled and better equipped scorers than players of the past.
I don't watch the Hawks. I just know that one player. He's tough. Well, and Trae Young, but like he's like the only random I know.
Right here, we have a graph that shows the total production of points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks of every MVP since the NBA-ABA merger. Some of the weaker MVPs in league history are guys like Steve Nash's back-to-back awards, 06 Dirk, 2011 Rose, 2015 Steph Curry, and 1999 Karl Malone. Moving up the chart, we have more middle-class MVPs like 01 Iverson,
46, 48 for
Duncan, 04 Kevin Garnett, and
you see that Bron always over MJ everywhere in every stat line.
The best MVP seasons we've ever seen. We have names like 88 Jordan, 2000 Shaq, 2010 LeBron,
48 and 2, way better than Curry. I mean, way better than Curry.
2017
and way better than MJ.
Well, that's until you throw in the top 3 candidates from the 2026 season. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and Luka Doncic.
That is not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, my brother.
2025-26 season.
That is not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Is tied for second place for the most productive
maybe this guy.
MVP
That's Russ.
all time, only behind another European superstar this season. But this isn't the only time Luka Doncic has had an unreal MVP-worthy season. If we plot every single complete Luka Doncic season that could be worthy of an MVP, it looks a little like this. Luka Magic has 6 seasons that would rank in the top 30 or an above average MVP
in the league.
season. He has 5 seasons that place top 20 all time, 4 that place in the top 15, 3 that are in the top 7, and 2 of the top 3 seasons. Luka Doncic's production isn't the issue of why he can't win an MVP. Over the league,
I've been seeing new Lakers. I've been seeing Lakers games this year. Obviously I'm a Lakers fan. I'm always gonna watch them. But I've been seeing Luka more recently because last year I didn't really look at Dallas games. Bro, this thing, I don't know what the fuck be on, but when he wanted to shoot that bit,
that your
he be
team
shooting
also
that
needs
bit
to excel. In addition to your own personal numbers, you kind of need a top 3 seed at minimum in your own conference to really have a fair shot at the award. Over the league's history, we've seen a few exceptions to this rule though. Moses Malone in the 70s and 80s won the MVP twice as the 4 and 6 seed on his team, beating out players like Elvin Hayes, Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson. Great superstars on better teams than the Rockets, but Malone's absurd scoring, rebounding, and efficiency numbers gave him the nod.
Woo!
In 1988, Michael Jordan won the MVP, despite the Bulls
Now you gotta bring
barely
the chains
cracking the
back.
top 3 seed with
Gold
just 50
chains.
wins,
That shit is really
beating
tough.
out Bird, Magic, and Clyde Drexler, great superstars on better teams. It took 35, 5-5, and nearly 5 stocks a night, while winning the Defensive Player of the Year, to convince voters to sway his way. After these rare exceptions, we didn't really see anything like this again for a while. The MVPs were almost exclusively going to the best player and the best team, until a man named Russell Westbrook had something to say. Becoming the first player since Oscar Robertson in the 60s to average a triple-double for an entire season. A stat line so unreal that voters had no choice but to give
2017
the
Russ,
man on the 6th seed and MVP.
That's just
Finally,
something to
the
talk
last
about.
real exception we've seen was Nikola Jokic's campaign back in 2022. Without his best 2 players of Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. for the entire season, Jokic willed the abysmal Denver Nuggets to the 6th seed in the West with 48 wins, while averaging 27, 14, and 8 on 58% shooting. Outside of these top 5 super occasional MVPs, the award pretty much never gets handed out to a player outside of a top 3 team in their own conference. And this unwritten rule explains what's happening to Luka Doncic in his career, because he has never been on a top 3 team in his own conference and met the required games played at the same time. Well, except Luka Doncic is winning a lot of games this year. The Los Angeles Lakers are a top 2 team in the Western Conference and a top 3 team in the entire league. And Luka Doncic still can't place on the top of MVP.
Second seed?
The man is doing everything right, with his out-of-this-world numbers and the adequate team success for the first time in his career, but still no hardware. Luka Doncic in 2026 can do everything right, but it's still not enough to top what Nikola Jokic and SGA have been doing. Trying to outdo a player
how
that's
can Luka win
triple-double
MVP
for
against
the
these
last
guys?
5 years, and an ultra-efficient scorer
Low-key,
that's
maybe
leading
because
the
of,
NBA's next dynasty
like,
is a near
bonus
impossible
fatigue?
task to complete. Luka Doncic isn't a victim of the MVP voting system. He's a victim of his own era, and I can prove it. Over the league's history, we've seen a handful of MVP candidates do everything
So
right,
voting
but
fatigue is
still
not gonna
fail
help,
to
bro.
take home the award. They had the numbers that were head and shoulders above the competition. Their teams had a great regular season. Some of them even had a good narrative going for them, but still no.
But 2019 Paul
what
George
people
was
like
like
to call
third in MVP
snubs.
voting.
And we've seen a few egregious cases of this. Dominique Wilkins with the Hawks in the late 80s was one of the best scorers in the league and was the 4th seed or better during 4 of his 5 years in this stretch and never won the trophy. Clyde Drexler in the late 80s and early 90s is another similar story. A great scorer with huge numbers, and the Blazers
He's going against
had
the
2
wrong guys.
one
This nigga was
seeds
going
and
against
1-2
Michael
seeds
Jordan,
in his
bro.
snub
Obviously they're not gonna
stretch,
give it
but
to
he
him.
still couldn't win an award.
The league couldn't do
Too bad
that.
another flashy athletic 2-guard was in the league at the same time as him. Anyways, Patrick Ewing in the 90s with the Knicks was one of the best big men in the league, consistently leading the Knicks to excellent regular season records, but no dice. Going forward about 15 years or so,
Karl Malone's T-Mac should have won
Houston
MVP.
was probably the best scorer in the league.
T-Mac
at
definitely
one
should have won
point,
MVP.
dragging the Magic to multiple playoff
If
appearances.
he would have won a ring, they would have given
as
him
high as
MVP.
the 4 seed. D Wade in the late 2000s.
I do think if Luka
prior to
wins a
LeBron,
ring,
is
he gon'
another
get.
MVP snub.
He
Good
would've
regular
gotten,
season records and even better scoring numbers.
He would've
but
got an
still
MVP.
Nothing to show for it. Chris
Hey, next
Paul
year.
with the Hornets is another name that gets constantly brought
That's
up.
why Shay's
He's
name gets
MVP
talked about so
snub.
much because he won a ring.
24 and 10 with 2.5 steals on 48% shooting. Next level numbers for a small
Yeah,
guard.
2.5
And he had
steals.
some great regular
2
seasons,
steals for a shirt
but
per
it wasn't
game.
enough. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are 2 names from the 2010s that don't get enough MVP snub love. Having some great regular seasons with San Antonio, Toronto, Indiana, and the Clippers together in 2020, along with excellent numbers.
Yeah, Paul George
but neither
was
did
running for
bring home
MVP
the
in
award.
2019.
Damian Lillard, near the same time frame, also put up huge numbers with the Blazers and led Portland to some really good regular seasons. And finally,
Gotta get yourself a ring.
Luka Doncic.
Oh, well, Kawhi did get a
While
ring.
Luka
He
can't
still
boast
never
the
get an
same team
MVP.
success as some of these other
But like
guys,
Kawhi's too
only
low
having 3
key, like,
seasons where
you know?
he played enough games and had a top 4 seed in his conference at the same time. His stupidly high production during this stint should almost make up for his lack of wins. Now, to really illustrate just how much of a historic MVP snub Luka Doncic truly is, I did exactly what you expected me to do and created a chart for this. All of the other MVP snubs are down here with stat combinations in the 30s and 40s. And then there's Luka Doncic from 2022 to 2026. Nearly 20% better than the next closest competitor while having a top 3 win rate of the 10 snubs, only paling the Drexler with the Blazers and Kawhi with the stacked Spurs teams, 2019 Raptors and 2020 Clippers. Sometimes you can do everything right and still not win an MVP in the NBA. Clyde Drexler got outshined by Michael Jordan in the 80s and 90s. Patrick Ewing got
you gotta do something
by
like
Hakeem and David
amazing,
Robinson
like
in the 90s.
to actually when people
T-Mac,
start
Wade,
noticing,
and
you know.
Chris Paul
There's already too
all
many
got
good
outshined
people.
by Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. Kawhi, PG-13, and Dame just weren't as good as peak Steph Curry, triple-double assassin Russell Westbrook, Rockets James Harden, and peak Giannis. And Luka Doncic is currently getting outshined by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, but you cannot tell me
It's not don't hate
Shai's
the player,
better
hate
than
the
them.
game. It's don't hate the
Shai's
game.
not better than Luka.
Hate the opposing players. What really makes this phenomenon so sad for Luka Doncic, though, is that we're watching his legacy get stripped right away from him in real time. Opposing stars, his own franchises, and the NBA are all doing his career a disservice. We all know how special of a player Luka Doncic is in real time, but if he can't achieve
Luka be good, bro. He'll be good. He'll
biggest
definitely be all good.
milestones, despite his otherworldly numbers, history won't remember him kindly. We all know that Luka Doncic is a better player than just an All-NBA and All-Star select, but future generations that didn't get to witness Luka magic in real time won't see it that way. To really show you the discrepancy of Luka's accolades compared to his insane numbers, I created a chart that shows just this. On the x-axis, we have a player's combined championships, finals,
Yo, try not to
MVPs, and
fall
MVPs,
asleep challenge,
the
bro.
biggest awards you can win in basketball.
My eyes
while
are
the
closed by
y-axis
themselves.
has a player's career box plus minus, showing how much a player achieved during their career relative to what they actually did on the floor. And this line through the middle represents if a player underachieved or overachieved during their career based on the combination of these two stats. Some players that would be considered overachievers based on their high amount of accolades compared to their impact on the floor are guys you would commonly find in a top 10 of all time list. Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Wilt Chamberlain, Steph Curry, Tim Duncan,
This
Larry
music,
Bird,
bro.
Magic
Like, yo.
Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron James, Bill
The
Russell.
NBA is doing Luka a disservice, bro.
Some players that
Luka
would be
gotta win
considered
MVP.
underachievers.
Either
With
this
their
year or next
lackluster
year.
accolade collection, despite their undeniable value they bring, are guys like Dirk Nowitzki, Dwayne Wade, KD, Clyde Drexler,
Oops.
Giannis, zero
Oops.
minus than Luka Doncic.
Nah, shit. I ain't gonna lie, bro, guys. NBA is doing Luka a disservice. They gotta give him, bro, a ring. Some way, somehow. What's going on? But, I mean, bro, it is a lot of competition out there, so he's gonna do the best he can. Hope you guys like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.